Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co.
And I'm Chris George.
I'm glad you picked up on that. For a second, there was a tiny pause, like you're like, is he going to introduce me? I don't introduce people. But anyways, this is a regular ongoing series on the channel. First of all, this is Chris George from Room and Board. I'll have a link to his channel down below. He likes to try to be funny on camera. Sometimes he is honestly the best person on your channel by far. I don't even know his name, but that pepper guy.
Oh, Pablo?
Pablo is so funny.
He's a character.
He is a character, actually, interestingly enough. I recommend watching his videos. Does a lot of Kickstarter, closing, roundup stuff, as well as, 5 reasons not to back certain games, as well as table talk back. Lots of fun stuff. Highly recommend checking it out. That is neither here nor there. Today we're not talking about him, we're talking about your collection.
My horrible, horrible collection.
Yeah, this is a series I like to do when visiting other people, where I take a look at their collection and I pick out the top 10 worst games in their collection. The games that I, to a certain extent, would rather not play again, although to a certain extent is key, because the nice part about other people's collections is they often have good games, and I'm not going to, for example, pull, say, Scythe or Terra Mystica off the shelf, even though they're games that didn't really resonate with me as much as they did with others. They're still good games. I still think they're solid games that I'd happily play, even if I don't feel the need to own them. I try for the most part to pick games that I would rather not play again to an extent. This doesn't actually mean they're bad games. It means that they're games that I am going to complain about to some degree. That's basically the video. And then he's supposed to counter about how good they are. That's the whole...
They are fantastic, and I can tell you, Alex is wrong about 9 of them. He got 1 right. I don't know what they are.
Yeah, and he doesn't actually know the list. He may have like some. We had conversations about different things. This is falling on my camera, so I should be fine there.
I left the room, and then he covered them with a blanket, so I'm very excited for this video.
And the blanket
very
got
excited to be here.
To the mic. Our audio level's still good?
We're still good.
Looks like they're still good. We're going to start with the first one, the very first one, which is the only one from this entire list that I haven't played. And if you're like, Alex, how can you call a game you haven't played the worst games in your collection? Well, it's because it's Seafall.
Get out of here.
Seafall. I mean, at this point, anyone who's agreeing with you is out of pity.
I know. I'm well aware that this is pretty hated, but I think it's fantastic.
Seafall.
I think it's good.
Oh, okay. He's already hedging. He's already like, I can't defend this on camera. Seafall, for context, is going to be a legacy game from Rob Daviau, who has made some amazing games. Some of my favorite experiences have been playing Pandemic Legacy and then other games. And also, I believe he was involved with Cthulhu Death May Die as well.
Yeah,
and that's, again, one of my favorite games. He does incredible work. And Seafall was a game that was incredibly popular. For Plaid Games, Legacy, not based on an existing system, but its own beast. And then it sold for like $60. And then the price started dropping and dropping and dropping. And now you see posts like saying, hey, I saw Seafall for like $8 somewhere. Should I get that? Is that a good price? And some people are like, that's a great price. And other people are like, are they paying you $8? Because if not, no. So what do you like about this one? Why do you think it's good?
I think it is good. I highlighted this when I was talking about underrated games. I have played about 18 games of this. I'm not done my campaign. And my regular game group also played this. A different, they didn't invite me. They almost became my my not regular game group. I almost cut them from my life completely, as I should have. But I think if you're looking for, there are things that aren't great with the game. The rulebook's a little unspecific. As you progress further on, there can be certain edge cases which just like are potentially game breaking. So walking into knowing that, and also knowing the fervor at which people disliked this, I was still excited to play it because it's all about exploration. There's a fun little resource management game that you can play, and just sailing around the seas, exploring islands, getting to name those islands with your friends, attacking each other when they aren't expecting it. It's a really sort of dynamic game. And I don't think I'm colored by the fact that I'm currently in the lead of this one, but I mean, yeah. But the other two people, I've won almost every game. But the other 2 people who I play with, they have loved every single game as well, and we have been excited to keep playing it. And it only stopped not being completed because of COVID. And as soon as the COVID restrictions were kind of lifted here in Canada, both of them reached out. Were like, hey, when are we going to play Seafall again?
Wow.
And I think that the ending of the game will be a letdown. I know it will. But I think the journey getting there is great. And if you can get it for $15, do it.
Wow. So I mean, listen, Seafall is a game I've always wanted to play. I've always been intrigued by it. The constant amount of people hating on it
Yeah.
is enough that I'm going to ignore everything you just said, because what you said makes it sound good, but I'm going to ignore everything you just said because I don't play enough of my favorite games as it is. I don't need to dive into something that is disreputable or reputable, however you want to call it. But yeah, this is Seafall. If you find it for $8 to $15, apparently this is worth potentially checking out.
$40? Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard from some people that it's almost worth it. Just even if you're not going to play it, just read how it progresses. Just play one game to get a feel, and then just start reading cards and go through it that way. Maybe that's the way to play Seafall.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's number one. That's the only game I haven't played. The rest of these are all games I've played, which means I know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that I would rather never play Arkham Horror again.
The second edition specifically, or any edition?
I haven't played the third. I haven't played the first. So yes, the second edition specifically.
Why is that?
So Arkham Horror is a game to me that is, first of all, way too long for what it is.
It is.
That's my biggest thing. My biggest thing is not that Arkham Horror is a quote-unquote bad game. I thought Arkham Horror was enjoyable. I thought it would be an enjoyable hour-long experience.
Yep.
At 3 hours long, it's still an enjoyable hour-long experience. The other 2 hours are where I'm trying to figure out what else we can play and how fast we can get there. Arkham Horror it's a basic game of cooperative game of bad things happen, good things happen. It's pandemic, just with more stuff going on, and the more stuff I don't think adds enough benefits to the game. It adds a ton of just cards and interactions and cards and interactions, but the actual core gameplay loop is bad thing happens, try to defeat the bad things, make skill tests, try to win, and a combination of luck and skill all packages together in a highly thematic 3 hour long experience that doesn't feel like it should be a 3 hour long experience.
I honestly think 3 hours is like on the lower end too. Like I would.
It's been a long time.
Usually it's like about an hour per player. So I guess if you're playing 3, then yeah, 3 hours. But I've usually only played it 4. I think I haven't played it more than that. But so it's been, in my head, it's like 4 hours. Or if you play it two-handed, they just say, yeah, play with 2 characters. So it's 4 hours.
Yeah. And when was the last time you played this game?
A long time ago in a galaxy far
away. It's not that
away.
it's a bad game. It really isn't. In my opinion, and this isn't even, I'm going to recommend a game that I don't own, but have you played Eldritch Horror?
I haven't.
So I think for myself that Eldritch Horror gave me most of the Arkham Horror experience in a significantly shorter playtime.
Yeah.
I still don't own it. It's still a game that I moved on from, but it's a game that I was tempted to keep that one.
Yeah.
But I'm always making hard choices, what stays, what goes, so that one did leave. But I wouldn't ever pick that as the worst game. This is a good game, but it's a good hour-long game. It's not a good 4 hour long game.
It's hard to get to the table, but I think if you like that sort of battling monsters, stacking them up, searching buildings and having random things happen, there's a lot of randomness to it, but I think that's part of the, you go along for the ride and you see what gets thrown at you, and if you like the genre and the environment, I think that's the main draw for me, is that the environment, that's what keeps me keeping it, even though I haven't played it in a very long time, because the environment sucks you in, and it's like it's a vibe, right? It's a spooky soundtrack.
I mean, listen, you signed up for 20 hours of Seafall. 4 hours of Arkham Horror is not a bad thing at all.
That's true.
Yeah, let's move this over there. Next up is a game that I don't remember, and this is going to choose some of these games. The nature of picking games I don't want to play again is, for the most part, they're games I've only played once. Arkham Horror I actually have played multiple times. Seafall I never played. Some of these games, well, we'll go through them. A bunch of them actually I've played more than once. But this game is a game that I've only played once. Libris. Oh, good. This is gonna be fun. Okay, great.
I'm about to walk out the door of my own dang house.
Seafall, you felt embarrassed to defend. Arkham Horror, you were like, it's good, but I hear what you're saying. You look offended.
You shut your mouth right now.
Awesome. This is what I come for. Libris is a game about building a library, a magical library, and it involves getting all these books and stacking them in orders and things and doing abilities that don't feel that interesting.
Alphabetical order. You got to build your shelves in alphabetical order.
There's so many better games. If you want a better library themed game, Mythium, the Mystic Library, Athenium, the Mystic Library, that's a great library themed game. I think that's solid. This one just felt tedious, unnecessary, and the abilities, and I love powers and abilities left, right, and center.
Yeah, come on.
The abilities felt like just boring. Nothing about this game. I played this game once, and my wife, by the way, who loves libraries, loves the theme, and was like, as soon as I got this game, she's like, we have to play Libris, read the rules, we're pling it today. She never wants to play this game again either.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to the two of you. Who hurt you?
This Libris hurt us. What do you like about it?
I think it is a fantastic worker placement. I love that every round you're constantly getting new places to go to. I love that each game is going to be different. So the replayability is so significant. You have these tomes that are going to be banned one game, and you're all got a secret sort of specialty tome that you're going for, kind of like Sagrada. I really like how the board evolves, because you have all these different locations that you can go to, and the good ones tend to stay around. One stays every round, and then you get a whole new swath, so the board slowly like builds up over time. And you're just completely wrong about the powers and abilities. They're so good. There's something about this spatial puzzle that you need to create with building your bookshelf. You're expanding orthogonally, and you have to, at the end of the game, make sure that your bookshelf is supported, so that's like an actual bookshelf. And
in order.
And in alphabetical order. And it's sort of like pushing your luck in terms of, will I be able to squeeze that other book? Will it come up? Or do I make a sacrifice? And each card has different tomes on it. So you're like, okay, I need that for my stability, but I don't need that for my power. I think it's fantastic. I love it a lot. The white text on the cards is incredibly annoying. Other than that, it's great.
I don't know. Honestly, this is a hard one for me, because I think I should like it. I remember thinking that the premise of the game was fascinating. The premise was incredibly interesting. The gameplay to me felt tedious and boring. I did not, and it has powers and abilities. Did not love it. Did not love it at all. Anyways, I wish I could attack it more. I don't.
Just play as the bookworm. That's like the overpowered character.
I don't know. Maybe someone else plays as bookworm. Maybe we should.
Maybe that was it. Yeah.
In any case, number 4 on the list is going to be a game that I like but would rather not play again. It's going to be The Others by Eric Lang. Is it by Eric Lang? I think so.
It is by Eric Lang.
Eric Lang. And this is a command game, and I absolutely love the fact that I have a command game on my top 10 worst games of all time. Not all time, of your collection.
Of all time. It's of all time.
Of all time. And fun fact, I almost picked Gizmos as well. I did not pick Gizmos. It's safe. I almost picked Gizmos for this list. It was safe. I was like, you know what? I didn't love it, but it's a good game. It's fine. Anyways, The Others. The Others is going to be a game that, it's not that it's a bad game. I think the reason I'd rather not play it, the reason I put it into the worst games of all time category, and in fact, fun fact, if you're wondering why hasn't Alex ever done coverage of The Others on his channel, it's because I filmed a video a long time ago, then I got rid of The Others after filming the video, and then my hard drive crashed and I lost 4 videos. There are 4 videos you've never seen on my channel because they got destroyed.
The hidden Board Game Co. files.
Yeah, anyways, fun fact, that's neither here nor there. The Others is a game that I did a full Play This Not That video comparing it to the World of Smog Rise of Moloch.
Because I played.
You never played it?
No,
solid
I know you
game.
love it.
I love it. I love it. Solid game. I think this has some similarities in the one versus many category. It's going to be a lot of a game is actually different. In fact, the way I really compare it is The Others is what happens if you combine 2 command games, The World of Smog Rise of Moloch and Cthulhu Death May Die. They have a lot of general similarities, and I think in both cases, it is a solid game that I'd recommend if those 2 games didn't exist. But those 2 games do exist. And I think you should get both those games that do different things better, even though this one doesn't together, do them both better. So what are those 2 things? The first is going to be one versus many gameplay.
Yeah.
I like the one versus many gameplay in both these games. In fact, I would say that if you're comparing it on one versus many alone, I thought The Others was fine. I thought it was fine. I thought it was okay. I prefer Rise of Moloch, but it was good. But the idea of sacrificing your characters to become more stronger, of taking like these hits so you can become more powerful, both this and Rise of Moloch do it, and Cthulhu Death May Die do it, and Cthulhu Death May Die I think does it much better. What you actually, the insanity you take on in Cthulhu Death May Die, have you played that one?
No, I haven't, no.
Unbelievable.
I know. Well, that's why I have The Others, because to me, those other 2 don't exist.
That's fair. The Others is a good game. I think it's a good game. I think it's I can't remember what it's rated on Board Game Geek. I think it's like a low 7s. I think it's a fair score. I enjoyed my plays of The Others. It has a lot of stuff, a lot of content, a lot of fun ways to augment it. I just couldn't justify playing this one again when I could play those other 2 games.
And that's
the other 2 games.
Nice.
Yeah. I try.
That's fair. And honestly, this is you picked the one on that shelf that I actually haven't yet dived into. This? No, I haven't dived into it yet. So I feel bad. I should have let you know beforehand. I got this on Kijiji for $30 with the upgraded tokens. So I was like, yes, I have to get this because I love Eric Lang, because I love Rising Sun. And I swear if Rising Sun is in that pile, I'm gonna lose it. So everything about it draws me in. I'm not sure as I think more about it. I don't know if I like one versus many, but I kind of do, but I don't. You know what I mean?
So for me, and this is everything's going to be different, but for me, most of my one versus many plays are usually as a one versus one,
Yeah.
with one player controlling most.
Yeah.
I have definitely played like the others, Rise of Moloch. I've played them both with multiple characters, with multiple players on the other side. But I find one versus many ends up often being myself and my wife just going head to head.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So while I haven't played it, I'm still very excited to play it, and I'm not deterred by your horrible opinion because I've seen what that is. And
You shouldn't be deterred. This by far is my favorite game from the 10 games that I picked today.
oh, all right.
It's just
legit.
that other games do it better, and it's a long enough game that I think it's a good experience. Even if you said, hey, I
Yeah.
have those other games, I'd be like, play this one, get a feel for it. Maybe you'll like it more. The other two are better games.
I'll send you a message when I play it.
Sounds good if we ever talk again after this list.
Probably not.
Anyways, next up is going to be where we have 4. I have 6 left. 6 left. I'm trying to think the order to tackle these in. Let's go with this one, which is another solid game that I think is worth trying. Azul Stained Glass of Sintra.
Now, does this apply to all Azuls?
No, Azul is great.
This is specifically Stained Glass of Sintra.
In fact, it's not even that Azul Stained Glass of Sintra is a bad game. It's that Azul is so much better. I don't understand why anyone would pick Stained Glass of Sintra over Azul.
I agree that Azul is better at 4. I think Stained Glass of Sintra is better at 2.
I don't like Azul at 4. I like it at 2.
Well, yeah. Well, then you're wrong. Then you're just straight up wrong. Because here there's I think with the Stained Glass of Sintra, I really love Azul. I was just in Nova Scotia and we got Azul for my girlfriend's parents, and they love it. And they're not like huge gamers.
Great game.
It's such an awesome game to get people into the hobby. And I would in fact recommend Azul to other people to first get into the sort of Azul brand. But I just think with Stained Glass of Sintra, there's an element of strategy that is a little bit elevated from the original Azul. I think you can dump more pieces on the other player if you're playing it head to head.
In the original Azul.
Than the original Azul.
No.
Oh yeah.
The original Azul.
Because you always have a spot in Azul where you can load up some of those tiles. You're not like completely screwed. But because you randomize the board in Stained Glass of Sintra, you may need to hurry to finish a portion of your stained glass so you can flip it so you can open up the spot where you can add that additional color.
The elegance of the original Azul is specifically, and this is why I prefer it as 2 players. Yeah. At 4 players, Azul is just a fun little game of gathering tiles. At 2 players, Azul is a game of screwage. It's a game of picking the thing I want and leaving you with 4 tiles that I see on your board you can't fit. And then the punishment you get for having 4 extra tiles at the end of the round is so severe. 1 tile, sure, not a big deal. Having 4, 5, 6 tiles, the punishment and the brutality of Azul shines at 2 players, and it's so much more punishing than Stained Glass of Sintra.
I think it's more punishing in Stained Glass of Sintra.
I was going to
get down to minus 18.
The one redeeming quality you had is the idea that you'd say, oh, it's about building stuff up. No, it's not. These games are about punishing your opponent while trying to get a few points along the way.
I agree.
And that's why Azul's better.
And you have to, just having that additional thing to manage of trying to finish your tiles at your stained glass at the end of the row versus so you can get more points down the line versus completing it up front. I will admit that I really, really enjoyed the original Azul, and I had such a fun time getting to play it more over these past 4 weeks that I was in Nova Scotia. But I am convinced that I still like that better at 2.
I think I am harsher than you though, because I like Azul a lot, still in my collection. I played Stained Glass Sintra multiple times trying to give it a shot. Not once did I ever enjoy it because of how much worse it felt compared to Azul. I genuinely didn't enjoy it. I was like, why would I play this? I can play Azul. Why would I play Stained? Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know.
Hey, maybe
have you played some of the
I haven't. My girlfriend has. Yeah.
I have not. And they just announced Queen's Garden.
Yeah, maybe that is the optimal Azul.
That's the optimal Azul. Get that one. Anyways, next up we have another great game that I think it has a spot in your collection, a potential spot, except for one problem. I would have let this go because actually, fun fact, we just did a video of talking about the nature of having games for every situation, every environment, with the ideal perfect game collection size. It's over on his channel, check that out. But I think that arguably having Ticket to Ride is a great game to have for the right people in the right situation.
For sure.
But you have 2.
2 Ticket to Rides?
You have the expansion maps.
I do have, well,
that's
the
just
Africa
unnecessary.
expansion.
I don't care. That's just unnecessary. At that point, honestly, Africa is one of the worst ones too, because Africa is it's enough extra strategy and depth to it that it could arguably be a better game, but then also takes away from the point of Ticket to Ride, which is the accessibility for others.
Yeah.
Ticket to Ride is a game, and if you argue with me on this, you're just wrong. I don't even care. Ticket to Ride is a game where the only way to play it right is to play it inefficiently. Meaning, playing Ticket to Ride efficiently is not a game about completing your routes.
Yeah.
It's a game about screwing with others. It's a game about, if you want to play it efficiently, if your goal is to win, then the way you play Ticket to Ride is you take the tracks and the spots that get in others' ways.
Yeah.
Is that how you play the game?
No.
Oh, that's not how I play the game.
Yeah.
So we're both playing this game inefficiently.
Well, I think it's less so in Europe specifically because you do have the stations that you can double up. So if somebody blocks you off, I think Europe is more friendly than America. I like America better because of this. But I think Europe is more friendly because you have those like safety nets of the stations. If someone cuts you off, you just go, yep, well, I can use that route anyway.
That's fair. I haven't played Europe in so long, I forgot about that. That's fair. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Are you playing Ticket to Ride efficiently though?
No.
Oh, so then why? So you own a game where you're playing it inefficiently. So why would you own that?
I'm enjoying the journey of building the train.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I'd phrase it as I would own it because not all games have to be played as I'm trying to win. I don't mind playing a game that is
incorrect.
Yeah, I don't mind playing a game where I'm playing to have fun because I'm playing with somebody else who's like younger or gateway or all that, and owning one of them is plenty for that. It's an okay system. It's a very, very popular okay system. Yeah. But it's one where 90% of the people who are playing Ticket to Ride are playing it incorrectly. They're playing it without the intent of winning. They're playing it with the theoretical intent of winning, but they're not playing it strategically because if you played it strategically, it would not be a fun game.
I think at 2 players, I think at 5 or more players, you run into the problem of, yeah, I should be screwing over this one player, but if I do, the other people are getting ahead of me. So I think at 2 players, you do have that more cutthroat thing in terms of like strategy and whatever.
Fairish, I'll give you that.
But the reason I have Africa is I actually won that in a Ticket to Ride tournament at Snakes and Lattes here in Toronto. I came in 4th. It was like the qualifiers.
Wait, you came in 4th?
Yeah.
In a Ticket to Ride tournament. And were you playing it efficiently?
No, I was playing it.
Nobody was playing the game right. He just played the game better than the people who weren't playing it right.
But so Africa, everybody who came in the top 4 got an expansion, and Africa being the less good one, I got that one. So
yay. Africa's actually, I actually happen to like Africa. I just think it's weird middle spot. It's a weird middle spot of being more strategic and still not strategic enough.
It's also tough if you have people who forget to count their points because you have those extra terrain which double the points.
All the time.
So you can't, like in every other one, you can recount at the end to make sure the scores are right, but in Africa you just can't.
Do you ever recount at the end to make sure the scores are right?
Pretty consistently.
It seems like so much work for unnecessary. I owned almost all the Ticket to Ride games at one point, and then I realized I wasn't playing them. And I held on to Ticket to Ride Nordic as like the one version I had, and I held that for years, and then realized I still wasn't playing it. And so it's a game worth owning, but I don't. It's a weird position. I don't think it's a good game, but I think it's a game worth owning.
It's a game for your parents, to be honest. My family, my mom and dad, this is like probably their favorite game.
Yeah. I mean, I can't argue with that. Anyways, moving on.
I can't insult my parents in my own home.
Moving on, we have Unfair.
Get out.
Unfair. This is a bizarre. How many players do you play this with?
As many as I want.
I don't.
All of them.
I don't know. No, it's a fact.
I haven't played it at 5. I haven't played it at 5.
Unfair is a weird game.
I don't play it at 5 because it's too long.
Because like Ticket to Ride, it falls into this lighter, accessible category as you build out your theme park. The idea of getting those rides, it's so much fun. The idea of building out your theme park, of having that giant roller coaster, of building out your unique special roller coaster, of having different ways you can score points in the blueprint cards. Just stocking up on blueprint cards like the tickets and Ticket to Ride. It's like just like, okay, great, another blueprint. Okay, great, look at that, I already have that one. Oh, look, I only have to add one more thing to this ride to get that one. It is so much fun. And then the entire game is called Unfair because there's screwage left, right, and center. It is a game about building things up, where, like Ticket to Ride, they're like, you know what if we took this really simple game about building stuff, and the optimal way to play it is actually to make others have less fun?
Okay, well, it's not necessarily the optimal way to play, depending on the situation, right? But I agree. My girlfriend also enjoys this game, but whenever we play...
Do you always play with the rolled piece card?
Yeah, we're not allowed to play with the bottom half of the cards.
Which, speaking of which, by the way, now's a good time to tell you that Funfair exists.
Yeah.
There's a game called Funfair where they basically said, hey, you know that game that we made unfun and jokingly referred to that in the title? Why don't we make it more fun and give you a game called Funfair that's shorter, faster.
Yeah.
Funfair is delightful. Unfair is theoretically delightful. The problem is I'm with you. The only time I actually play Unfair is, or when I had it in my collection, I placed it with Funfair. The only time I ever played Unfair was when I played it with that world piece card. I was like, oh, this game makes sense because we can't just target each other the entire time. I mean, it's not that it's not strategic.
Yeah.
It's strategic. But like, it's not fun to have your rides constantly closed and torn down.
You have to really be in the right mindset and be playing with the right people if you are going to
Like people you don't like.
burn them down.
Yeah. People who you don't want to have a fun time. People who you dislike so much you're willing to suffer through an hour and a half of not fun because at least they're not having fun too. It's got dark quickly. Anyways, Unfair is a theoretically great premise, a theoretically great game. I just think Funfair is a better choice. Now, to be fair, the leeway I'll give it is, sadly and unfortunately, Unfair is the line that they double down on more and give you more expansion content for. So
which are great.
And they are great.
Yeah.
Thematically, the extra decks are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Weirdly, if I had to pick between the two games, I'd almost pick Unfair with the World Peace card always in play, just so I could have the variability of the extra decks. Funfair is good, but the lack of variability takes away from the repeat plays of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. Anyways, we got 3 left, and we're going to have fun with it.
Ooh.
We'll go with one with is less fun first. We're going to go with Tokaido.
Okay, I'm fine with this.
Oh, well, then why do you own it?
You know why I own it? Because because I'm a sweet, gentle, sentimental guy. And my girlfriend got this for me the first Christmas we were together. She went to a game store and said, "What's a great 2-player game?" And they inexplicably told her Tokaido.
Tokaido is not a great 2-player game. It's better at higher player counts, but even then, it's not necessarily great. Tokaido is a game where you're going on a path. It's a pretty game. I can recommend lots of pretty games that have actual better gameplay attached to them. This is just, I don't know. What is the game here? What are you doing what decisions are you making in Tokaido?
I think you're not. You think you're making decisions. That's why the Crossroads expansion,
I haven't played with that,
makes it significantly better. So I picked it. It's not still something that I would want to play, but the Crossroads expansion gives you 2 options for every spot you go, because basically you're the person who's in last on this road to Tokaido gets to place their person ahead of everybody else, and you can choose the spot that you want to go to, and they all do different things, but generally it's just, okay, well, I'm going to move my piece to the furthest spot away from the end because that way I get more action.
Yes.
And so it kind of feels almost like the game of life, in which that it's predetermined before you start.
It's peaceful. It's beautiful. I'm kind of intrigued with the Crossroads. I never played any expansions. I played it like 2 times and got rid of it a long time ago. This is a long, long time ago. When it first came out, like, it was like so pretty and it's so gorgeous, and
it's got a great soundtrack too.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Didn't even know that.
Yeah.
And like, I'd play with the soundtrack. It makes sense. It's a peaceful game.
Yeah, it's a calming experience. But
I have other Zen-like games that actually give me gameplay decisions to make. And this one is not... The Crossroads now sounds interesting. Maybe I should get the card back. No, not going to do it. Not going to do it.
You can borrow my copy if you want to try Crossroads.
He doesn't care that much. Okay, let's have fun with the last 2. The last 2 are games that definitely have a passionate audience. Not that I care. Because Ghost Stories is next up on this list.
You don't like Ghost Stories?
I tried a lot. I got this game. I played it. I gave it like 4 years apart. You know, absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah.
It didn't. I got it back. I tried it again. I love the promise of Ghost Stories. The promise of Ghost Stories is powers and abilities in a cooperative game of these ghosts marching towards you as you execute on which different actions you're going to take and which way to repel the ghosts. The problem is the game basically has a terrible win rate. Like, you're going to win this game maybe 1 out of every 10 times if you're lucky. And then additionally, that's the second keyword, is lucky. The game, most of the time, as much fun as it can sometimes be to actually choose going here, doing there, I think most of the actions are fairly pre-scripted. It's rare that I really feel there's a difficult choice. Usually I have a choice to make, and then the ghosts that come out determine just how difficult the game will be.
Yeah, I can see all that. I think I personally really enjoy punishing cooperative games. I don't like winning that often in a co-op game, because then that makes the win feel a little less special, right? If you kind of get it every time. But I personally enjoy that struggle through. I
like that struggle, but for me there's 2 factors. One is I prefer like 30-70 as opposed to 90-10.
Fair, yeah.
And secondly is I think the bigger part for me is I'd be fine with the losing all the time if I felt like the decisions I were making had an impact as opposed to just the pre-scripted decision.
Yeah, I get what you're saying in terms of pre-scripted decision. I think there's a little bit more nuance. It is pretty like, okay, well, we got to take out some ghosts, and I'm able to do that, so I kind of have to do that.
That's what it feels like.
But
every time I play, it feels like that.
Yeah. I can see it. I still personally enjoy it. My girlfriend really enjoys this a lot, and that is she is more inclined to play it than I am. But I don't see it leaving my collection anytime soon because she'll play it with me, and which is a pretty big factor. And but also I like the puzzle. I like the 9x9, and I like the theme better than Last Bastion.
So I haven't actually played Last Bastion. I was intrigued by it because I like the concept of ghost stories. I got it back for a reason. The Last Bastion intrigued me. I just didn't see enough buzz about it for me to pick it up.
Yeah, well, it's the same game. I haven't played Last Bastion either, but I looked at it and like it's just a
Not any differences at all?
Not that I can really tell. I mean, the differences is the art, and some of the cards may be different. Like they may have scaled the difficulty of the ghosts that come out. I don't really know who they are. And
I don't know.
The opposing warriors in Last Bastion.
It's interesting because I actually like medieval as a theme, but ghosts fit well with this theme.
Yeah.
With this theme, ghosts really do fit well.
Yeah.
Anyways, this is the last one. The last one I saved for last for a reason is because this is the one where I get the most hate for. And that means I left it for the end of the video where half of you have stopped watching right now. So I get less hate and less people I have to argue with, because I will argue with every single one of you on this. That's a guarantee, maybe. I don't know. Either way, the last one is going to be Battlestar Galactica, which you're giving away, which means you hate it.
I do not hate it. I think it is a great game. I'm getting up to leave because I'm so upset.
Yeah, this is Battlestar Galactica. This is another fantasy fight game.
I'm with you all.
Yeah.
Back me up on this.
Why are you getting rid of it?
I'm getting rid of it because anybody who I would play this with already has a copy.
Okay, fine. That's a fair answer.
Yeah.
Battlestar Galactica is another 4-hour-long game. Now, unlike Arkham Horror, I think the gameplay experience that it promises is worth it if the game goes well. And that's why I have a problem with it.
Fair, yeah.
You see, already. He caved in 2 seconds as soon as I ended the sentence. As soon as I ended the sentence, he's like, okay, fine, I hear your point.
No, I think there are valid points as to why people wouldn't like this game. And people, who don't enjoy fun and who hate themselves inside.
That's me. Battlestar Galactica is a game where if you could guarantee me a good play, because there are good plays of this, then I would sign up in a heartbeat. It's worth those 4 hours. It's a great experience. It's incredible. It's amazing. The problem with Battlestar Galactica is I would say every third play, depends on the group you play with, and there's a factor. In my experience, every third play is a suboptimal play, and I am not signing up for a 4-hour-long suboptimal play. So let me explain what I mean. Let me just give some context so people don't know what's going on. Battlestar Galactica is going to be a game in which some players are silent, some players are not silent. Silence, if you don't know the theme, is going to be these robots trying to basically destroy you and stop you from winning. So playing as a silent is great. This is going to be a game which is basically like The Resistance or One Night at Tomorrow World. For any of these games where you have hidden roles and players trying to, secretly trick the others, sometimes knowing who each other are, sometimes not, all while in a theme that does it so well. Like, they have a reprint of this game, no interest. It's another theme. The theme works so well for this game. The gameplay, when it's going well, is so tense, so thematic, so well done. My problem with the game is threefold, actually. I have 3 specific complaints with the game. The first complaint is that if you're playing with people who cannot properly play if they can't hold their own in a social deduction experience, they've signed up for 4 hours of being an easy read, which is not fun for them. It's not fun for you. It can turn them off gaming as a hobby in general, and it's not fun to be like, I can tell that you're lying to me. I can tell. Stop. Like, it's not fun for anyone. So, as a basic line in the sand, never play this game with people who aren't experienced at social deduction games.
I mean, to be fair, there is a point halfway through the game where your role can change.
Oh, we're gonna get to that. I said there's 3 points.
But if you blow it early on, you can take the time to hone up on your social deduction chops and then get a new role and just sail to victory.
We're going to get to that. Point number 2. There's a card in the game. There's a literal card where you look at somebody else's role. I have literally played this game twice where that card was played in the first 10 minutes. And yes, you still can be stuck in a little bit of a, well, no, you're lying. You're bad. I'm bad. But, like, it means it takes a lot of the fuzz out of the game.
For sure.
Fuzz is the wrong word. The fizz, the fun. When you, like, the first 10 minutes, the foozle of the game is gone. In the first 10 minutes when somebody else knows who you are and now you're stuck in a face-to-face confrontation lie the entire game, it's happened to me twice. And it definitely took away from the experience for those 2 people involved.
Yep.
The other players are still having fun, but that's not the point. I'm not playing games so I have fun. I'm playing games so we have fun.
Yep.
And then point 3, which you touched upon. Battlestar Galactica is a 4-hour-long game where your roles can change halfway through. which means everything you do in the first 2 hours of the game has to be hedged upon the idea, well, I can't do this too well. I can't be too good of a silent or too good of a non-silent because my role might change. It's a 4-hour-long experience where 2 hours into the game, you can shift and pivot your role, making everything you did, unless your goal is to maintain just enough balance where you can go either way, which means why are you playing? Why didn't we start this game 2 hours into it? What is happening here? You signed up for 2 hours of everything I do shouldn't matter. If I play it too well, I can punish myself, so I have to play to balance. And then the next 2 hours matters. Why?
I think like kind of we touched upon in Ticket to Ride, I think this is a game that is served when you don't play optimally. Because the optimal way to play is to hedge your bets, and then it's kind of meaningless. But I think if you embrace your role at the beginning, and then if you get a bad switch, it's almost like a new game where you can try to pivot and see what you can do. But I think you should always be pursuing your win condition. It's a tough thing in a lot of games. That's how like king making happens and whatever. It's when people don't pursue their own win conditions. And I think to play this and to enjoy it, you have to just say, okay, that's who I am. Like thematically, you believe that's who you are. Because in the game you believe you're human, or in the show some people believe they're human and then realize that they're Cylons. Spoiler alert. Well, I'm not going to tell you who. But if you commit in that sort of thematic way, and I think the theme is such a huge part of it. I've heard so many people say with Unfathomable that's coming out, that's the reprint. They say, I don't want that. I can't call the people you frackin' Cylon.
It's true. The theme is so well done.
Yeah.
Some of the best games I have ever had have been good games of Battlestar Galactica. They are incredible when they go well. I just have too many complaints past that. Yeah. I have too many suboptimal experiences. Arguably, my better games were before I realized that the goal is to play balance.
For sure,
If you play to balance, it's just not as much fun. It's 2 hours. It feels like 2 hours of your life is gone as you maintain balance, so in case things shift.
Yeah, but until I realized that's no point.
Until I realized that, it was really, really fun. It was really fun being a silent. It was really fun not being a silent. It was really fun calling people out. It was really fun going into fracking silence. It's really fun sending your fleets out to protect yourself, making the jumps into hyperspace. There's so much promise in this experience. And it just doesn't consistently deliver that. And I can't tolerate the inconsistent delivery in a 4-hour-long game.
It's fair.
Yeah, it's a good game. It's just walk in understanding all those complaints, and maybe you'll have a really fun time. Or maybe you'll be like, that Board Game Co guy, he's right. This
more
is
like
not.
Board Game No.
Board Game No, I like it. Yeah, more like Board Game No. That's going to be the title of this video. More like Board Game No. Yeah, that's going to be the 10 games. The top 10 worst games in your collection. All solid-ish experiences in their own right and way, but all ones that I have real complaints about in their own right and way.
Oh, I still like them all, except Tokaido. I'm fine with Tokaido. Yeah. Sorry.
Anyways, that's been the list. That's been the top 10 worst games in Room and Board's collection. Like I said earlier, I'll have a link down over to his channel where we did a video. We did a video over on the ideal collection size.
Yeah.
His, by the way, is the number of his games minus 10. That's his ideal collection size. These 10. Anyways, until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co.
I'm Chris George.
And have a good one.